Yo, what's up, guys? I'm a few minutes early. Wanted to make sure that you guys were able to get situated. You've got about a minute and about a minute and a half before we officially kick this thing off. We've got the bulletproof in hand. This is going to be another coffee session with Scott. Today, we're going to be talking about perfectionism and how that can really hold you back. Yesterday, we had a great question come in, and it was about perfectionism. And there's actually a couple of stories I want to share with you on perfectionism, and if you allow that to get in your way, on what it can really do to stunt your growth. Because you know, a lot of times we get caught up in, is it going to be, you know, am I good enough, or is the thing that I'm creating going to be good enough, and all of that. So we want to be careful of that. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Hey, Arrow Mike 89, what's up? Good morning on Periscope, which is pretty incredible. Neaton, happy Saturday to you, my friend. Cheers. You guys should hear some music in the background a little bit. We'll be tuning that down. I'm just playing over here with my little mixer. So if again, if you guys have anybody that you think that will get value in hanging out with us in the mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern time, definitely invite them. Would love to have them. Again, if they're the right people, right? We want the right people. Sim Ranali. Hey, Scott, do you make product test video before you ship? Okay, cool. We'll answer some questions for sure. So stick around for that. If you guys do have any questions, drop them in the comments. These coffee sessions are really very loose. And what I mean by that is we're just going to be hanging out, and we're going to be discussing a topic. We'll start with a topic. And then from there, we can go in other directions. I have no problem doing that. These have been generally going for about 15 or 20 minutes. Yeah, if you guys have any, if you got any, yeah, here we go. This is funny. Good morning, got my coffee. And it says Facebook user, and the reason why it says that and I can't see who it is because you must not have given permission to StreamYard, which is the app that I'm using to do this. So if you can do that, if you could share that, that would be helpful. Or even just put your name in there, Facebook user, because I can't see it where it said, good morning, got my coffee. But yeah, we're going to kick this thing off right now because we're at 10:01 right now. Yeah, and if you guys can do me a favor as well, if you guys can share this, whether it's in, you can share it in the Amazing Seller group if you want. I can't do it right now. Or you can share it in any other group or any other, or with any other people that you think that would want to have coffee with us. So, all right, let's kick it off. We've got a couple people here on Instagram. Instagram is always a little less for me. So let me see here. Okay, cool. We got some questions coming in. That's good. As Maza, how I built a website. Okay. And then we've got Karen. Oh, it was Karen. Hey, Karen, what's up? It's funny how your name didn't publish today. Yesterday you were there and I could see your name. So that's interesting. All right. Yeah. Well, happy Saturday morning to everyone. I want to first off just say that, yeah, the crisis is real, right? The coronavirus is still here. You know, we're all trying to manage. I had a really good call the other day with a bunch of really great people, successful entrepreneurs. And you would think that everyone is just feeling great about it, right? Like they're like, oh, they're just positive people. No, it doesn't matter what level of success you're at in life. You are going to experience self-doubt. You're going to have, you know, worries. You're going to have the stories that you're telling yourself, the what if syndrome. It's normal. Okay. But the one little thing I want to share is most everyone that I'm kind of rubbing elbows with, and it's on purpose, by the way, is just positive people. I'm looking at this as, and I don't want to downplay the virus at all. You know, there's people that have died. There's people that are sick. I get it. But I also want to look at the opportunity if we can look at it with that type of, you know, focus. And so for me, I'm looking at it as this is a wake-up call. This is a wake-up call. I was just having coffee with my wife, and I said the exact same thing. I said, if anything, this is making us appreciate, you know, what we have. This is also allowing us to see the importance of what we want to focus on, at least for us, right? And so, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going crazy. I can't get out. Like, I'm not really going crazy. And I actually I find value in being able to kind of collect my thoughts and be like within my thoughts, right? Like, and so I think if you're willing to do that and dig deep, you're able to get some benefit from all of this. So I just did want to, before we got into today's talk on perfectionism, if you guys are just joining me, drop a comment in the comments. Let me know you're there. Let me know if you are drinking coffee, tea, or a juice, or whatever you're drinking. Put that in the comments so I can see that, and we can go from there. But yeah, I'm looking at this as opportunity, and it's also pushing us in different ways that we probably wouldn't have went, or we wouldn't have done it now, right? And I used this yesterday. Do you ever hear anybody talk about this? And you might have even said this yourself. You ever said to yourself, or heard someone say this, man, if I didn't lose my job 5 years ago, I never would have been doing what I'm doing now. I'm so blessed that I got fired, or I'm so blessed that I got laid off, right? I've heard that a lot, right? And it's not all the time, but it happens quite often. And I can even say myself, going back to my story, back when I was in my father's construction company, I thought I was going to own that company one day. And then I found out really early on, probably within the first 3-4 years, that the partnership that my father had was not good. It was like a bad marriage. And so I realized that hope and that dream for me wasn't a reality, right? So that kind of sucked. But then when my wife and I figured out eventually that we wanted to start our own business because we didn't want to have limiting growth for our life and our business and our freedom. That's when we made the leap of faith. But it was kind of because the business wasn't what I was hoping it was going to be. So because of that, it was a wake-up call. For a little bit, it sucked, right? I looked at it and I was like, man, this is terrible. But then we turned that into something that now I look back and I go, man, I'm so glad that partnership didn't work out, because then it pushed me in this direction. And I've got a couple other stories like that as well. So S Maza, yeah, I'm gonna do Q&A here at the end. Okay, I'm gonna do some Q&A, but I wanted to kind of get into these to this topic, and I know you've got some questions, and I will answer them, I promise. But let me kind of go with the thread here. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to ask you guys a question, you a question, you a question. I want to ask you, do you struggle with perfectionism? Is there something that you haven't done because you just feel as though it's not perfect or it's not good enough, right? So I want you to drop that in the comments for me below. And again, these coffee sessions with Scott are all about us talking back and forth. So I need you guys to participate. That's part of the deal here. All right. So if you guys can do that for me, that'd be amazing. And I struggled with this for the longest time. And I'm going to give you an example here on how I was able to overcome it, and how, again, looking back, saying like, wow, if I never did that, this wouldn't have happened. I also call them the take action moments. This coffee session here is really what I'm calling the take action moment of the day, because I think we all have these. And if this one thing gets you to do something, that can then transcend into so many other things. I actually literally, and I have it handy here, I have a bunch back there, my book. I wrote this book all about these moments in our life that change our life, right? And so the effect of those actions, they are what give you those ripple effect results. All right. So answer me that question. Do that for me right now in the comments, and we will go from there. So do you struggle with perfectionism? And if you don't know, like, no, I don't. Is there something that you've been putting off that you feel you've wanted to do, but you haven't done it? And if the answer to that is yes, why? And a lot of times because I got to go back and do some editing on that blog post, or I got to go back and do the editing on the video, or I didn't look good in the video. I didn't like the angle. I didn't like this. I didn't like that, right? These are all things that are really perfectionism. So do you struggle with that? I'm just going to look really quickly here. and see if I got any of you guys in here saying anything here. Yes. Okay, Kyle. What's up, Kyle? About to grab some coffee at Starbucks. Nice, Kyle. Wash those hands. Yes, doing lives. Okay, Karen says yes, doing lives. So let's see here. Looks like Kyle, you're on YouTube as well. So thanks for showing up on YouTube. Publishing content on our blog. Okay, I know who that is. What's up, Amber? What's up with you? How's Mark's doing? And then Nitin, I'm sorry. Yes, I have wanted to start a blog from the longest time, but I am not an expert at the topic. Well, I want to dig into that one. That one I love. Let's talk about that, which we're going to. The other thing is, just out of curiosity, guys, I'm curious here. I want to know if you are tuning in right now, are you tuning in because you got an alert from like YouTube or Facebook or Pinterest? Periscope. Actually, Pinterest right now is blowing up for us in a brand that we're building inside of Brand Creators Academy. So that's why it was on the brain. Yeah, it's not. I'm not talking about Pinterest. I'm talking about Periscope. Did you guys get an alert? How did you guys come to this? Or did you just remember 10 a.m. Eastern, Scott's going to be live. I better get my coffee. I better get to it. I would like that to be the case, by the way. Dave Cohen in the house. What's up, Dave? Dave, I know you've struggled a little bit in the past with some perfectionism. Maybe we can pull you up at some point and talk through it, huh? Maybe we can pull you up on the live feed and do a little side by side, seeing that you're not going to the office right now. Maybe we'll get Dave to join us here at some point. What's up, Jeffrey? Jeffrey on Instagram. Oh, when's big? Okay, so got alert. Got to do Dave here. This is funny. Now Dave says he's got to do his hair, but Dave is technically almost bald. And see how I said almost bald, because Dave is and I'm not going to go into Dave right now, but Dave is a running joke between myself and him and a good friend of mine, Jimmy the Shark. He has no hair to do. So that's funny. Thanks for making me smile, Dave. I miss you, brother, too, by the way. Okay. Okay. Got an alert from Facebook. Yes, an alert. Okay. It's funny how like some people get alerts and some people don't. So that's just strange. Let's get to it. All right. So let's talk about this. So some of you have said, yes, you do. And some of you said, let me just go back to a few of them. Like Nitin said here, yes, I've wanted to start a blog, but not an expert, right? Not an expert, right? And then, okay, yeah. And let's see here. Approving and publishing blog content and used to be sending out the emails. Yeah, so the problem that a lot of people have is, again, they think that it's got to be perfect, or they think they have to be the expert. Okay. Now, let me share a story with you. Okay. Now, you guys may or may not know. Here's another question. Can we do this? This will be a yes or a no. Do you guys listen to the podcast? Yes or no? Do you know that I have a podcast, or are you just tuning in for the first time? Someone invited you. I'm just curious. All right. Been publishing my podcast now for over 5 years. We just hit 15,500,000 downloads, something like that, globally, right? All over the world. It's amazing. Reached a lot of people. Thousands of people have been impacted. I did a live event last year with over 250 people that are listeners. I've done in-person workshops. Like, everything that has come from that has just been absolutely amazing. And probably a lot of you on here now could be podcast listeners, right? So these relationships, these people that I've impacted, but also people that I've met, it's just been amazing, right? But here's the deal. That almost didn't happen. That almost didn't happen. And you want to know why? You want to know why that almost didn't happen? Because I wasn't an expert. When I started the podcast, if you have been a longtime listener, you know it started as me talking about my journey of selling on Amazon, only Amazon. Although before that, I had been in a brick and mortar business, 2 of them, helped to build and grow those. I've also built digital product businesses, also online membership businesses, done all of that before I ever started on Amazon, right? But as I started going down this Amazon path, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I will just document my journey and I'll help people along the way. And that's what I did. It's since pivoted, obviously, over the years. But that almost didn't happen. So I look back and I go, man, imagine if I never did it because I thought that I didn't sound good on the microphone. I thought I didn't talk intelligently. I thought that I wasn't smart enough. Who's going to listen to me? What if people start ripping me apart at the way that I speak, or I say like a lot, or I say right? Like all of these things are head trash. And they're the perfectionism thing that stops people from ever doing something, right? And I'm talking about like putting yourself out there, but what if I wasn't talking about putting yourself out there? What if it was more about just, I don't want to go to the local golf course because I'm going to look foolish because I'm not an expert. And then that's going to prevent me from ever going golfing? Like, seriously, like why? But because we're either feeling like we're going to be judged, or we feel like just inside internally, we're not good enough. We're not worthy of it, right? For the longest time, I felt that I wasn't as good as someone that went to college because they had a degree and I didn't. But now that I'm, a little bit further along in life, I'm finding that there's people that are in college that are looking to me, or that have graduated college, or that have these real like high like level jobs that are coming to me for advice. I had one guy actually at Steve Chu's event at Sellers Summit, and I met with him. I was a little meetup, and I met with him, and it was his first time ever being at an event. He's new to e-commerce and all that, and he had said, after I got done talking to him for about 20 minutes, he was telling me his story and everything, and then I was giving him advice, and he was like, Scott, I got to be honest with you. Part of my job is I deal with corporate businesses, and I hire people like you to come in and give advice to our marketing department. I write them a 6-figure check to come in and talk to us for an hour. I got more value out of this 20-minute conversation than I do for paying these guys 6 figures, right? So that kind of makes me say, well, wait a minute, maybe I'm undervaluing what I actually have to offer, and doesn't really matter if I have that degree. See, so the head trash is what's happening of why we're not actually putting out the content. We feel we're going to be judged, or we feel like there's other people that are more, I guess they're more knowledgeable, right? So if that is you, I want you to get out of your own way, and whatever it is, that thing that you want to do and you've been putting off, or you've got half written, or you've got a video that's sitting on your phone or your hard drive and you're not doing anything with it, this is your action moment right now. I want you to take that thing. If you want to spend 25 minutes on it, fine, then hit publish. Just hit publish. There's so many people right now inside of Brand Creators Academy, and their biggest breakthroughs is that they've been sitting on the idea of putting out a website and publishing their own content, to where now they've done it and they're like, wow, that felt amazing. And you know what? I didn't get a bunch of hate email, right? Like, so I guess it's okay, right? So I want this today to be your wake-up call, to say, number one, right now is the perfect time for you to be publishing content. Like, if we're just talking about content alone, right now is the best time for you to get out there and start creating, okay? And start planting those seeds. And if you are stuck because you're feeling as though it's got to be perfect, I'm here to tell you it doesn't, all right? I am not perfect at all. You could rip me apart as far as how I speak, how I write, all of that, and you'd probably be right. The thing that separates me from other people is I do it. Right? Actions speak louder than words. We've all heard that, and it's the truth. You gotta do it. You gotta take action in order for you to get results. I'll give you another example. There's a website that we are building inside of Brand Creators Academy, okay? We started it about 6 months ago, about 5.5 months ago right now. And it started with 0 pieces of content. It started with 0 people visiting the site, but we went ahead, created a very basic website, started creating some basic content. And this content, a lot of it is just answering people's questions. Okay. Can you catch bass in a pond? Basic question. And we've been doing that consistently week after week, month after month, and it's not perfect content. You can find flaws in it. And right now, there's two different brands we're doing this with. The one that I'm speaking about right now is getting over, and this is just kind of like out there, over, 7,000 page views, okay, from scratch. But if I sat there on the first one or two or three articles and I go, it's not really that good. I'm not really sure if I'm doing the SEO right. I'm not really sure if I'm doing the keyword research right. I don't know. What good is that, right? Put it out there, tweak it later. You can always go back and tweak. The other example, I've got another brand that we're doing side by side. This one, that one's starting to grow even faster, following the same exact model, basic website, no fancy graphics, very simple, very clean, okay? But I'm publishing content, okay? Again, can you use metal lures to catch bass? Question. Or maybe it's a how-to, how to catch more bass in a pond. And then products. The product bucket is always, best 5 fishing lures to catch more bass, whatever, right? That's it. It's number one, not overcomplicating it, but then it's taking the basic content and just creating it, okay? Getting out of your own way and not being perfect. And that one now, we touched over 13,000 page views, okay? Another model, another brand that we're doing the exact same thing in. I just did the numbers this morning and I posted it inside of Brand Creators Academy. Over 2 million page views last year. And this year, we're on track to do over 1 million visitors, actually more like 1.2 million visitors at the pace we're going right now. And this here is not a perfect blog. It's not perfect content. There's probably some spelling errors. There's probably some formatting issues. But guess what? Because we're moving, we're getting results. Okay? And you can always retweak. You can always do stuff later. But the big thing I want you to take away is it's not doing you any good by just keeping it up here. You got to get it out there. You got to put it in motion. If you don't, you have no way of getting a result. I think we all agree on that. So guys, let me know. I want to drill into Neaton's question as well. Got any other questions here? And does that make sense? Let's start there. Does this make sense? Is this helpful? All right. Because I want this to be helpful. I want this to be a moment that you also go, you know what? You're right, Scott. I'm going to go out there and today I'm going to create that piece of content or that piece of content that's been sitting on my hard drive. I'm going to get it off of there. Right. I want this to be that moment for you. Okay. Every day I want to inject one piece of action that you can do. All right. And that's what these daily Coffee with Scotts are going to be. All right. It's not all going to be about business. It doesn't have to be, because a lot of times this up here is going to affect your business, period. All right. So guys, let me know. Looks like we got some comments coming in. What about you, Instagram? What do you guys think? I see some of you guys joining over there. Give me the wave icon. Let's see here. Okay. Here we go. Yep. Karen says, I struggle with content too. What's your biggest struggle, Karen, with content? Help me understand it and then I can help you. Yes. Let's see here. Haven't listened to your podcast recently, but used to a couple of years ago. Very inspiring. Cool. Awesome. Well, glad that you joined me here today, and I'm glad that you were a listener, and maybe someday you'll come back. What would you like to hear on the podcast? Give me some ideas. I'd love to hear what would make you want to come back and listen. Let's see here. Cynthia, or no, I'm sorry. I thought that was Cynthia. Jason, can't really read that. Love that, Scott. But what if you don't have credibility in that field? I mean, why would people want to listen to a 22-year-old kid? Well, I would start by being the reporter, right? What I would do is let's just say that we're in the bass fishing market. What I would do is I would just be the one that's doing the collecting of the information, and then I would report on it, right? Or here's a great way to do it. I have my handheld microphone over there, but I'm using it as a prop. to hold up my thing. But basically, let's say that you visited a bass fishing tournament, okay? Or you've seen everybody that was entering in a bass fishing tournament, and you've seen that there's some of these guys or girls that are really, really like diehard, and they're really like known as the experts. If you reached out to them and you had like 5 questions you asked all of these people, you could then collect this information and then report on it. And that's your content. But what I would do, I wouldn't even start there, because it doesn't have to be you, the brand. Okay. So many people think it has to be them. It could just be you. Yes, but you are collecting and curating the information to help the market, right? So I always start with those 3 buckets. Questions. What are some questions right now? Come up with 5 or 10 questions that your market is searching for. And these, I'm telling you, these are like so easy to create content on. Okay. And this has been like the main bed of content for our sites when we're starting them. It's questions. Okay. And it's like I said, can you catch bass in a pond? Can you use rubber worms to catch bass? Right? It's those things. You don't need to be the expert on that. You just need to answer the question, right? And then from there, people are going to come over because they're going to do the old Google search, and they're going to find you and then be led over to your web property, your website, your home base. Okay. So you don't have to be the expert. Okay. I'll give you a great example of this. Jesse from Stillet, or Chasing the Craft, it's basically the same one. He was still as a listener of the podcast, good friend of mine. I just had him as a guest on Brand Creators Academy. He's blown up his YouTube channel, and he started about 3 years ago, and he started as being the non-expert, as being the one that's learning and documenting the journey. Okay. So he's like, hey guys, my name is Jesse. I'm going to be starting this YouTube channel to document my progress in learning how to distill alcohol. I'm going to be also doing other various crafts, or different, maybe it's brewing, whatever it is. But that's what I'm going to be doing on this channel. Love to to stick around. And then he basically goes, okay, week 1, I've gathered a lot of information about what I need. These are everything. This is everything I need to get started. This is what I need to do first. Next week, I'll give you a report on what's happened since then. Boom, gives another update. That's all he's doing. So it's not that he has to be the expert. Now, as he starts to evolve, guess what happens? He starts to become the expert without even wanting to be the expert, because now people are starting to ask him questions, right? Hey, Jesse, I was distilling this one, this one alcohol, and it just I was having trouble with this. What is the best? I don't know. What is the I don't even know the term, so I'm just gonna say the best glass to drink it out of, so I get the best flavor. He's gonna answer that question, and guess what? That sets him up as being an authority in the market, because now people are asking him questions, right? That's how that works. You don't have to start out as the expert. You can be built into the expert. So hopefully that helped. And thanks for showing up, man. Yeah, I'll tell you what. And you've been on just about all of these Coffee with Scotts. Do me a favor. Send me an email, scott@theamazingseller.com. I'm going to send you a t-shirt. I got a special t-shirt that I'm going to send you. So send that over to me, and I'm going to send you a t-shirt. Let's see here. Karen says, starting thinking I can't be as funny as you and Chris. You don't have to be funny. And yes, Chris is pretty funny, right? That's funny in itself. Never thought of that, Scott. This is amazing. I read the playbook as well. Unreal. Thank you so much. No problem. I'm telling you right now, man, you're here, you're going to do it. And you're 22 years old. Man, I just wish I had this type of opportunity when I was 22 years old, right? I mean, when I was 22 years old, I was helping build my father's business, just had my first kid. Life was different. But man, I'll tell you what, our kids, they have so much opportunity. And right now, I think you have a great opportunity, and you have a great head on your shoulders. You're here listening about this type of stuff, and you're not, like maybe playing Fortnite right now. Maybe you do play Fortnite, but I'm just saying, right? Like you're spending some of that time on something that you're building a skill set. Like that's what people don't realize. We're building skill sets that no one's ever going to take away from you, ever. This is a skill set you have forever. Okay. Things that I learned back even in my father's company, running that company, I've still got to this day. So just don't forget that. Someone had asked down here about the playbook. What is the playbook? Playbook. Yeah, let me show you. It's right here. So this here is something that I put together. Again, another great example, guys. I am not a writer. If any of you know me personally, you know I don't like writing. It hurts me to write email. I'm not good at it, but I do it. All right. And actually, I've thought recently, I think I might take a typing class, like actually like how to type better. Because I think I would have more enjoyment from doing it. But this right here, I did edit this all myself, but all of this came from a different series of podcasts that I did that goes over the entire process. So again, if you say to yourself, I can't write, I can't do this, I can't, there's ways around that if you want it bad enough. So this right here goes through basically the entire process of building out the brand. So basically, I mean, I give screenshots, I give examples, basically step-by-step, how to, everything is basically documented in here on how I built brands and how we continue to do it. Everyone that comes through our Brand Creators Academy, this is like the first thing they have to go through. Like this is the playbook. So this right here is kind of like what we go by, every single thing in here. If you want a copy of that, you do have to basically purchase me a cup of coffee. It's $4.99 for that. So if you are interested in that, I can put a link up here. Let's see. Yeah, you should be able to get it there, brandcreatorsbook.com. I can't put it up there. If someone wants to put it in the comment for me, that would be great. It's brandcreatorsbook.com. And again, I don't want these to be like I'm trying to sell you something, because I'm not. You can literally go listen to my podcast and get the information you need. This has just been collected and basically put into a manual. So I can hand this to my students and go through this first, and then we're going to be referring back to this, and we're going to be drilling into each area. There's 6 different parts of the brand build. So anyway, that's what it is. Yeah, so that's how you can get your hands on the playbook. Someone had just asked in the Instagram feed there. Thanks for showing up, by the way, on Instagram. Yeah, so if you have any other questions, guys, I'll stick around for about another 5 minutes. Oh, I like that question. Someone just posted a really good question. Hold on a minute, guys. Let's see. IVA in the house. I was one of our BCA students, one of our Brand Creators Academy students. IVA, what is up? Hey, Scott, I think sometimes the fear of perfectionism of starting and continuing on in taking action has to do with being able to get help. For me, the game changer was getting involved in a community of other like-minded people. I met people at BAL, Brand Accelerator Live, which was our event, which I almost didn't do, by the way, because I didn't know if I was going to be good at it. And immediately began on making connections and joining BCA, which is Brand Creators Academy, not knowing you are alone on the journey is huge. Yeah, and Iva, you've been a great part and contributor of Brand Creators Academy. So I want to thank you. And thank you for coming on one of these as well, because we generally meet in the academy pretty regularly as well. And then Karen, I have decided to pivot and move towards setting up educational worksheets for writing, fine motor skills, science, math, and art projects weekly. I'm thinking about making it a membership. Okay, I like that. Don't start with the membership in mind. Okay, I just want to put that out there. Okay, you always want to go out there and serve the market first. Okay, before you ever think about creating anything like a membership or anything like that. Thanks for putting that link in there too, by the way. I appreciate that. Thank you. So I think it's great though. And yes, you have a great opportunity to have digital assets in there. Right now it's about giving. And so many people say, well, Scott, how do you give away too much? Will that hurt your business? No, I've never found that. Okay. I have given away pretty much every single thing that I talk about on the podcast. The difference is when you start to pay for something, you get more of a direct connection with the creator. You also will get a lot of times a little bit more behind the scenes. And then you also you'll get that support from a community, or you'll get other people that are doing it along with you. So when you have a membership, and I've run memberships, not just the one for Brand Creators Academy, I ran a photography membership where people would download a digital backdrop every single month, and I'd have training videos in there as well. Worked really well, but it didn't start there, and I didn't even think about the membership when I started. I just was giving value. So you always want to start, get the value, get the traffic. If we get the traffic, we can turn that into dollars very easily. Not everyone's going to buy, but you don't need everybody to buy, right? So I would always encourage anyone starting right now, focus on giving value, putting valuable assets into the market. And that will also, they're evergreen, that will bring traffic back over to your brand. And then from there, we can start thinking about monetization. Okay. And there's a ton of different ways we can do it, guys. There's a ton of different ways. If you come to me with traffic and you've built some type of trust with your market, we can roll up our sleeves and we can get to work. Like, it's not hard. That part is actually easy. The other part is harder because people don't commit to the process and they give up too early, right? If we can get traffic, I'm telling you, traffic is the key. If we get traffic of the right people, we can turn that into dollars. It's not hard to do that. That part's easy. Okay. So just think about that. All right. So Karen, thanks for that comment though, by the way. Let's see here. Okay. This one, I love this question. 3 things you would do over in your business if you had the chance. Okay. It's a great question. And if I was to do, now there's, again, I'm trying to figure out like what business, cause I have a few different ones running. Right. And so I think the biggest thing that I would say, and again, that's for myself, like, and I'm actually going to be doing this pretty early here, like next week inside of Brand Creators Academy. We're going to be doing another kind of open case study. So I always have to kind of think about this, but if I'm doing something online, so I have an Airbnb as well right now, right? So I started getting into that part of the business, which is a whole nother animal. So there's things I would do differently there, right? Because it's a different setup, a different business. But if we're talking about online, the thing that I would always do, and it's not that I would do differently, I would always lean on this because I learned through the years. Whenever, and I went down this path, by the way, so I'm not saying that I always said, I'm going to lead with value. I have went down the road of, I just want to figure out how to monetize this early on. And whenever I do that, it doesn't work. Okay. It just doesn't work. So I'm going to go back to what I would do differently is I would always, okay, figure out the market. Okay. Figure out the market that I'm serving. Get crystal clear on that. Okay. Number 2, I'm going to validate that market always. Okay. If I've ever in the past didn't have as much success, it's because I didn't validate enough. I didn't look deep enough. I rushed into a market before I did all of the validation. Okay. So that's why all of the things that I've learned now, I'm applying to everything that I do and I'm teaching it. Okay. And the other thing that I would do over is I wouldn't go after just one product. Okay. So I learned from this. So when Amazon was early on, as far as like us coming in and being able to do private label products or any of that stuff, what I learned from that was I went after a product and it worked out of the gate. Like immediately, like that one product with like 2 variations, probably, I mean, over the course of probably 2 years, it probably brought in, I don't know, $600,000-$700,000, right? And so when that happens, you're like, oh, maybe I should just find another product, right? But then as you start to see the market shifting, and I'm aware of this stuff because I've seen it even in just like Google updates or eBay's updates and all of that stuff. I've seen it, but it's almost like you get spoiled in a sense. So you're like, I'm just gonna run with this. So the one thing I would change is I would never just go after that one thing, right? So like in this case, it's a product. I would never start a business only looking at the product because then everything has to stem around the product, right? And so we don't want to do that because it limits us. And I don't want to base all the decisions off of the product. I want to base it off of the market. Okay. And that's really, really important. So I don't know if that was 3. Number 1 is always make sure that you're starting with the market in mind, always. Okay. Number 2 is I would make sure that I'm not just looking at the product or I'm looking at monetization. I'm not looking at that. And then number three, and this is something, again, that I would do over just from what I've learned, is always stay the course. So never give up too early. Maybe give yourself that little bit of a runtime or, a little bit of a time span that you're going to commit, and then just stick to it. So hopefully that helped you. But right now, I mean, literally, when I'm starting a brand from scratch, I'm following everything that I'm talking about and I'm doing it again, right? So my idea is to build out websites that aren't necessarily even tied to me, but to be more like this here, the Amazing Seller Podcast, Brand Creators Academy, a Brand Accelerator Live. That's all basically ScottVoelker, right? So what I've learned is you don't want to just be the face of the brand because it's hard to replace that person if you ever want to sell. So because of that, the lesson I learned was when I'm building out these websites, I'm not going to put a face to it necessarily. I'm going to make it more of contributors. So hopefully that helped. Let me see here if we got another one. What's a good runway? A good runway, if you're following the model of getting traffic and then monetizing that traffic, I would say 6 months to 12 months, right? That's where I'm seeing the most growth as far as traffic and then when we can start to monetize. So my whole idea is, and this is my plan, is to, in 6 months, start to get traffic. And that traffic, I would like to see at 10,000 visitors per month. We're just about there on the one brand, and then we are definitely there on the other brand. Now, because we're over the 10,000 person threshold, yes, in the meantime, we could be putting on ads, but we don't really go hard on ads in the beginning because we want to keep the traffic coming, right? So the second part of that is then when do we turn on ads? And I mean ads like Ezoic ads, Mediavine, or AdThrive. And so Ezoic ads allows you to put on ads, I believe, at 10,000. So that's why we're using that. And in 6 months, you should be able to get to 10,000. Then we can turn that on. We can start to monetize. We can also start to monetize with products, when we start to mention them or do product post. But you just want to be careful as far as how early you do that. So it's being patient. So I'd say 6 months and then a year. That's kind of like your couple of points that you want to get to. But you're not measuring money made in the first 6 months. You're measuring traffic. And then from there, you're starting to then add components that will bring in money and build on that. And then by that point, when you have 6 months under your belt, you can start to see what's worked, what hasn't worked, and start to really hone in on those things. Same thing with monetization. So hopefully that helped you. That's the runway. And then Neaton, would you get email addresses right off the bat? Yeah, what we do, and we did this in one of the brands, not both of the brands. One of the reasons why we didn't do it in the other brand is because we just haven't had time. So if all I was focusing on was one brand, then yes, always right out of the gate, I would start by building the email list. And the way that I talk about it in the playbook, by the way, is what we do is we will start building out the content. And then as we're doing that, we're going to build an email list through a giveaway or a contest. We're going to target people on Facebook. We're going to drive them to a landing page, and we're going to get them to raise their hand by offering them a physical product of some kind or a bundle. So the ultimate fishing kit would be a good example. And then once we build up that list, as we're building that list, we can send them to the pieces of content that we're creating. So we can get traffic to our website and our blog, even though it's not search traffic, it's direct traffic. We can get that a lot quicker. And so that will kind of speed up that process. So building the list, it is important. I do think sooner than later, you want to do that. But if you can't do both, start with the content piece. And then from there, start to build that. And then when you build the email list, you'll have content to drive people to. So hopefully that helped you. All right, guys, this went longer than I expected. I wanted these to be short and sweet, but hopefully you guys got value from this. This little coffee with Scott session. Your take action moment of the day is get out of your own way and create something. Take the perfectionism and just get it out of here. It no longer exists, right? I want this coffee with Scott session to inspire you, motivate you, but also I want it to make an impact on your life and on your business. I want it to be something that's actionable that you can do today. So if you're going to take action today, Put it in the comments and let me know and say, yes, I'm going to take action. Yes, I'm going to take action. Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. It's part of the process, guys. You got to get out of your own way. The only way that we can get a result is if we literally take action. We have to do it, right? So let me see those come in before I jump, and we'll go from there. Nice. Yes. Yes. I'm seeing the old answer. Instagram beat Facebook, beat YouTube. Come on, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Maybe it's just a lag. Maybe there's a lag. Maybe you guys got an advantage. Yeah, no problem. Organize with Grace. What's up? Yeah, great. I'm trying to see here if I can see any of your, if you had any questions over here. Let's see. Yeah, I answered those. Cool. Awesome, guys. Hey, you guys are awesome. Thanks for showing up on Instagram. Thank you for showing up on Facebook. Nitin, no problem. You're the best as well. Yes, Karen says yes. I'm putting what you say into action. Yeah, and don't overcomplicate it, Karen. Don't overcomplicate it. All right, guys, that's it. That's going to wrap up this little coffee with Scott. Do me a favor. If you found value in this, like it, share it, do all of that stuff. Let someone you know about this. Let them join us for coffee. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time, every day. I'm doing this daily. So make sure that you come back and then you bring a friend. All right. Only a friend that gets it, that wants to go out there and really make a better life for themselves, get the head right, but actually take action and get results. All right. So if you know someone, invite them. Would love to have them. Welcome them in. And you as well, Instagram, you do the same. And that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. All right. So cheers. Happy Saturday. I'll see you tomorrow morning. As always, take care. Take action. I'll talk to you soon.